Hey dudes, if you're like me and haven't been into the Nikon Z6 and Z7, here's some news that might change your mind. Today, Nikon released firmware version 3.2 for the Z6 and Z7. Now, there are the normal bug fixes and whatnot for users, but for potential adopters of the system or current users of the system, here's the big news. This release adds the ability to record Blackmagic RAW externally to a Video Assist recorder. You'll need the 12G HDR Blackmagic Design 5-inch or 7-inch Video Assist to record the BRAW, and have either previously purchased the Nikon RAW upgrade for $199 or pay a Nikon service center to upgrade your Nikon Z6 or Z7. This does sound like an expensive exercise, but there are some huge upsides which I'll discuss in a minute, because Nikon has also expanded the ProRes Raw for the Atomos users like myself. Now, if you are an Atomos ProRes Raw user, there's also some great news, as Nikon has added more control over the RAW via the addition of metadata. This metadata gives you the ability in post to adjust your ISO and white balance controls in Final Cut Pro 10.4.9 or later. Again, you will need to have previously had your Z6 or Z7 upgraded by Nikon to output the RAW signal. And if you haven't, and this is now something that tickles your fancy, then you should just contact your local service center. Does this mean that the Z6 and Z7 is the first camera to record both RAW and ProRes externally? I'm not sure, but let me know in the comments down below. And if Nikon can do it, why are other manufacturers not giving their customers the same option? I know this is something that I'd love Canon to provide. I know personally there are many cameras out there on the market today that I would love to buy in a heartbeat, but the number one thing stopping me is the RAW post pathway. The ongoing RAW war between Atomos and Blackmagic has divided the filmmaking community, hardware manufacturers and post-production facilities. Because as it stands, the editing software we have chosen dictates cameras that we can use on production. And if you want to work in RAW without huge workarounds, the Z6 and the Z7 may be one of your only budget-friendly options. For example, before this announcement, the FX6 has to be the best video camera release of the year. I'm a Canon shooter, and admitting this, it hurts me to my soul. On paper though, the FX6 smokes the C70, especially because it can output ProRes RAW. And the C70 has no RAW and a lot of long-GOP codecs. But for DaVinci Resolve users like myself, that RAW that the Sony FX6 outputs, or even the A7S III outputs, it's a huge problem. And if a production wants to shoot in that format, or a client offers me a job grading in that format, it's just a nightmare to deal with because it becomes a multi-step process to grade. And that's because I'm not savvy in Final Cut Pro, and I would never pay the outrageous prices that Adobe demands for their software. I mean, look guys, also Final Cut Pro and Premiere are not as good for finishing films in higher end professional productions as Resolve. Period. It's just not even open for debate. And I think this is where Nikon has been smart to breathe some new life into the Z6 and Z7 by partnering with Blackmagic Design, effectively opening its doors to another market of creators. And you have to take your hat off to Blackmagic Design for working with Nikon to expand the lineup of cameras on the market that can offer BRAW as a recording format. And this is why today's announcement, for me, at least from Nikon and Blackmagic Design, is very interesting. It's a great strategy. Finally, there is an affordably capable camera on the market offering both BRAW and ProRes RAW, unlocking a RAW workflow in every major NLE on the market without the price tag of a RED or an ARRI. Nikon really did change the value proposition of their cameras today. Let's hope that they bring this feature to more of their cameras, pushing their competitors along the same road. See you guys.